Hi everyone. This is Lisa. Hope you like the new do. Got the new do. Hi. Um still at still at work out the little kinks though. But it's my new do. So um so today, we're talking about mental health. You know. Um I've created a website on GoDaddy's, you know, which I also did one on Facebook. So I actually got two. Let's talk about mental health. Plus, I got the Let's Talk About Mental Health website that's actually on Facebook. I'm very serious about taking this to the next step. Because this conversation needs to be had and it needs to continue to happen. I know that there are places that talk about it, but it's not enough conversation. You know, it's something that needs to be forefront and center. You know, maybe if we can do that, maybe a lot of less shootings will start happening. You know, so today we're going to talk about. Last time I talked about was depression, but I want to talk about other things too. Like for me, I suffer from PTSD, and a lot of people always ask me. There's two questions when I say PTSD. There's two questions people always ask me. One, what is it? And two, even though I'm a veteran, but you haven't been to war, so how could you have PTSD? Well, PTSD does not have to come in a form of combat. You can suffer PTSD at any time in your life. So let's break it down. PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, which basically means that if you go through something traumatic, that there's the stress and the depression of it all. You go through a lot of phases with PTSD. And in my case, my PTSD, I deal with a lot. I was sexually assaulted on active duty, and I deal with a lot. I deal with the depression. I deal with the flashbacks, the nightmares. You know, I deal with the being hyper vigilant. You know, these are some of the things that I deal with as PTSD. So it's not a military thing. Yes, it's more common in military that you see PTSD, especially those combat veterans. But you can suffer PTSD not even being in the military. You can suffer PTSD from child abuse. You can suffer PTSD from domestic violence. You can suffer PTSD from rape, sexual assault. Being physically abused. You can suffer PTSD from all that. So it's not necessarily a military thing, and it's not necessarily a combat thing. It comes from whatever trauma that you had in your life. That's PTSD. That's where PTSD comes from. And with me, we're going to talk about, like, with me, flashbacks and the nightmares that I have. I'm quick to tell people I don't have nightmares about that. But in fact, I do. It's just not in the form of that of the incident. You know, it's in the form of other things. You know, that's why I always keep in tune with my dreams and my nightmares, because a lot of times it's stemming from, my sexual assault. Even though I may not see it as such, but looking back, yes. You know, like I have this whole thing about uh, lava. You know, I always dream about trying to get away from lava, running away from it. You know, but the dream isn't about the lava. The dream is about me running away from the trauma. It just came in the form of lava. You know, I want to run away, but at the end of the day, I know I have to face this head on. I know that I'm not going to heal. I mean, I'm going to heal. I guess what I'm trying to say is I won't get over it, but I have the tools to deal with it, because this is something that I'm going to have to deal for the rest of my life with. So the purpose of therapy is not to heal it, but to make it easier for me to deal with when it happens. I have the tools. I'm getting the tools that I need to deal with it. And that's the whole thing about therapy. See, people, okay, we're going to get into, okay, I was going somewhere with that, but then, okay, we're going to have to make a detour on therapy, because a lot of people misunderstand therapy. They misunderstand therapy to the hilt. And this is where the stigma comes from. The minute you tell somebody that you in therapy, the first thing they're going to say, oh, you crazy. Or you go into the crazy house. That's stigmatizing. Mental health, that is stigmatizing. Not only just mental health, but therapy. Therapy is not meant, it's meant to help you deal with things that you cannot deal with on your own. I know we humans, and we like to think we can take on the world, but we have to face it. There are some things in this world that we cannot do alone. We can't do everything by ourselves, and it's okay to ask for help when we need it. And going to therapy is basically what you're doing. You know you need the help. Ask for the help. It's there. It's there. So let's stop stigmatizing therapy, because therapy is there to help you deal with whatever you're going through. They give you the tools that you need to help get you through. And and I'm okay with it, because believe it or not, with therapy, as you talking to your therapist, you might come across some things that you didn't even know, or you were not even aware of that was going on. That's what I call epiphanies. And trust me, since I've been in therapy, I've had plenty of epiphanies. Because the more you talk, the more you talk to a therapist, the more things start to come to light. And you start to notice things, and you start to see things, and you start to be able to put things in a little bit better perspective. The therapist may only say 2 or 3 words, but with you talking, you like, because I've done it. I've been like, wait a minute. I didn't think about that like that. What if, and it helps me put things into perspective. That's what therapist is. That's what therapy is. I mean, it's there to help us. And when we need the help, it's not a crime to ask for the help. We can't carry the world on our own. So I'm just saying, I mean, I enjoy, believe it or not, I enjoy therapy. I'm getting a lot out of therapy. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to impart, to you guys that therapy is not your enemy. Therapy is not your enemy. Therapy is your friend. You can take medications, but if you're not doing the therapy, hi, Mr. Funk, it is an amazing tool. It really is an amazing tool. I mean, it's fine to have therapy, medication, but you have to use that in conjunction with the therapy. You can't just take the medication and not have the therapy with it, because then it doesn't work. Then it's just like you like a junkie, But therapy is an amazing tool. It's an amazing tool. And believe it or not, that's something that we all need in our lives. I enjoy my therapy. Shoot, I'm the first one. I go to therapy, even though I do it virtually and I do it through the VA. I have my therapy sessions once every couple of weeks. I just started art therapy, and I'm getting ready to start music therapy here in the next month or so when they start up, So I'm going to enjoy this, because all it's doing is helping me put my stuff in a proper place. And then when things come up, I have the tools that therapy gave me to deal with it when it comes up. Exactly, Mr. Funk. Exactly. This is not a movie, y'all. It's not what you see on the TV. We misconceptualize by what we see on the TV, but if you've never been to therapy, that's all you know. Yes, Mr. Funk. I have an awesome therapist. Like I said, I've been doing, look, I ain't even gonna lie, I've been in therapy for a few years, and it is helping me a great deal. If it hasn't helped me, trust me, I would not be on here doing this, but it's got me to the point where, okay, I'm okay to help somebody else, and let people know that it's not the end of the world. Whatever your mental illness is, it's not the end of the world. There's help. Exactly. See, I just said that, Mr. Funk. I just said that, because you don't know how many times I sat with my therapist. Now, my therapist may say 2 or 3 words throughout the whole session, which is about maybe 45, 50 minutes. And I'll do all the talking, but as I'm talking, I have epiphanies, then things come into focus, and then I start seeing things that I haven't seen because I was in the midst of my mess, and that's what therapist is. That therapy is somebody that you can talk to that, can help you put things in perspective. I know, Mr. Funk, me too. I love those epiphanies, because you don't know how many times I go, wait a minute, I didn't think about that. And my therapist just look at me like, mm-hmm. I'm like, I didn't think of it that way, And it's like so funny that I have those epiphanies, but in reality, It's me helping myself, because my therapist may say 2, 3, maybe even 4 words throughout the whole session. I'm talking and I'm going, wait, ooh, epiphany. I feel an epiphany coming, you know? And it's like I can put things now into perspective. I'm starting to be able to put things in perspective. And I have the tools that whenever I get to a point, or I have a stuck point, at least I know I have somebody I can talk to and say, look, Doc, I'm having an issue here, you know? And then she'll be like, what's the problem? And there I go talking, and there go the epiphany. And it's like, oh, you know, it's just, I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. You know, just talking about, I mean, I don't enjoy, reliving, my sexual assault. But at the end of the day, in order for me to get the tools that I need, I have to, you know. I mean, it's like going to a doctor. A doctor can't fix what's hurting you if they don't know what it is that's hurting you. You know? Exactly. Exactly, Mr. Funk. Exactly. I mean, it's always good to have a support system. Always. It's always good to have a support system, whether it's your therapist, whether it's your friends, family. But at the end of the day, you know, when you come down to that wall and you really need it, you need a trained therapist. You really need a trained therapist. I mean, friends and family, they're fine to talk to. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, do they really understand you? Can they really relate to what it is that you're saying? They may be to a point, but they may not fully understand you because they haven't been where you are. They haven't gone through what you've gone through, you know? So, to a degree, they may understand, but they're not going to fully understand. And this is why it's so important to have a trained therapist, because a trained therapist, they see it day in, day out, you know? And like I said, a lot of times they very rarely even talk. It's you talking, and then you come up with all kinds of epiphanies. And this is why it's so crucial to have therapy. Because I ain't even gonna lie, Mr. Funk, I ain't even gonna lie. The first time therapy was brought to me was many years ago, and I'm like, I ain't crazy. I mean, I'm crazy. I ain't that crazy though. You know, I you know, I didn't want to do it. But at the end of the day, it's not the fact that I didn't want to do it. It was the fact that I wasn't ready to deal with it. And this is where my problem lied. Because I did not want to deal with it. And sometimes they talk about hitting your rock bottom. Well, I hit my rock bottom. And ever since I hit my rock bottom back in 2010, I've been open. I've been open and I've been honest, and I'm like, okay, I know you said you didn't want to deal with this, but I have to suck it up and deal with it. Yeah, Mr. Funk, I had to suck it up and deal with it. Because if I don't deal with it, this is going to continue to happen. Exactly. The only way is looking up. Because when you hit your rock bottom, man, you can't go no further. The only way to look is up, you know? And like I said, I hit my rock bottom, you know? And at that point in time, I knew I had to suck it up, put on my big girl panties, and deal with it. And I've been dealing with it and working with it since 2011 for 10 years, you know? And I'm fine with that. What's that, Mr. Funk? You know, we have to, that's true. We can never 100% know ourselves, you know, because we always say when something comes up, well, I would do this, I would do that, and I would do the other thing. But then when it does hit you, all the things that you say you were going to do just totally went out the window because you wind up doing the opposite. So, no, we don't know ourselves 100%. So when a situation comes, we can't say what we are, what we're not going to do because we don't know. We're not in that situation, you know. And I always said, somebody always asked me, they say, well, Lisa, what would happen if you came across, because I was also raped too before I went into the military. What would you do if you ever came across your rapist or the person that assaulted you on active duty? I'd be like, I would like to think I'd take their head off, but do I know that for sure? Nope. I don't know what I would do in that situation. If I ever came across those two, I don't know what I would do. So yeah, I don't know myself 100%. None of us do. We'd like to know what we think we do. Exactly. 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 And I attribute it to, like, if you think about marriages, okay, say you got a couple that's in a marriage. They've been married for like 20 plus years, you know, and then something happens, the first thing the partner's going to say, exactly, Mr. Funk, exactly. The first thing the partner says is, well, that's not my partner. I've been with him for 20 plus years. They wouldn't do nothing like that. Okay, but meanwhile, your partner in jail for robbing a liquor store or something so much worse, you know? Sometimes we got to get past what we think we know because we don't know. We don't know. Even our own partners that we've been with for many years, 20 plus years, we don't know them. You know, we don't. So that just goes to show you that we don't know ourselves 100%. We don't. I'm first. Look, I'm the first one to say I don't know myself 100%. You know, only know by what I see or what I do. I cannot say what I'm going to do in the future because I don't know. You know, Exactly. Exactly. You got that right on the money. It's now what you know that gets you in trouble. It's not what you know, it's what you think you know that ain't right. Exactly. See, I can only go by what my track record was in the past. I can't I can't dictate the future, you know? And I'm getting older, so I'm changing every day. So there ain't no telling, you know, what this crazy one will do, you know. But all I can say is I know by my track record, you know. I can't speak on what's to come. Yes, actually, Mr. Funk, I do. Every night before I go to bed, I have a Amazon Echo, the show, and I'll put on Abide, and I'll listen to the mindful meditation, or I'll listen to a good ASMR that really relaxes me before I go to sleep. It puts me in a very tranquil state, you know. And I do have issues with sleeping. I do suffer from insomnia, you know, and so that, in conjunction with the medication, I listen to that. I'll turn on my Amazon Echo and I'll listen to Abide, or like I said, a good meditation ASMR. And before I know it, somebody done turned out the lights. I'm like, what happened? Look up, sun is shining. I'm like, okay, somebody done turned out the lights, you know? And it's a good sleep, you know. I wake up feeling refreshed, revigorated. I don't have that lethargic, you know. I stretch. I'm like, okay, what we doing today, So I do. And I recommend people, other people, you know, to get that meditation, that mindful meditation and stuff like that. I've done all different kinds of meditation. I even done transcendental meditation, which is actually a really good one. That is a really good one. Uh they call it TM for short, but it's transcendental meditation. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. As I say in the chant, I could just feel my whole body just get totally relaxed, because the guy gave me my chant mantra, and the more I chanted it, the more I relaxed. My whole body just relaxed. Wow. Yeah, meditation is great. It is. And there's so many different ones. There's mindful meditation, there's transcendental meditation, there's the like they do the body scan meditation, you know, they do the grounding meditation. So there's different kinds of meditation. It's just got to figure out what works for you. Yes, therapy does. That's good to hear, Mr. Funk. Therapy will get you through. In my whole life, and I'm 56 years old, in my whole lifetime, I've only had 2 anxiety attacks. I've had 2. And those were the worst moments of my life because it felt like I was having a heart attack. Come to find out, it was an anxiety attack. You know, thank God I didn't have to. I didn't have to. I haven't gone through that again. Which is the purpose of me going through. That's another reason why therapy helps, because when you're having, yeah, they're not fun. so not fun. When you're having anxiety attacks, from the day, maybe it's your kids getting into stuff. Maybe it's your husband or your wife doing some crazy stuff. Maybe your job is just doing some crazy stuff. You're one person. You're only one person. And there's only so much one person can take. That's why it's always good to have a therapist. So when you go to your therapist, you sit down and say, look, this is what's going on, blah, 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 ABC, and they can help you straighten it out so you don't have anxiety attacks. Because like you said, Mr. Funk, they ain't fun. Exactly. The bravest thing that anybody could ever do is ask for help. Because and I said it before and I'll say it again. It's okay not to be okay. So it's okay to ask for that help when you need it. The bravest part is not the fact that you feel like, oh, you can handle it. The bravest part comes in is like, okay, you know what? This is just too much. I need to get myself into therapy. Because you recognize. It's like, what's the first rule of AA? Admitting that you have a problem. Well, same thing. That's right. No person is an island, and we all do need help. It's like it's like, hey, first admit you have a problem. Okay, well, put that to therapy. Okay, I know I have a problem, and I need help. That's the first battle. Once you get to that point, then everything else just falls in line. But you need to ask for the help. I mean, you can't expect people to come to you and say, are you okay? Because you're not looking good. Are you okay? Because it doesn't work that way. You have to reach out. I had to reach out. Either that or keep dealing with what I'm dealing with. And then what? Me, God forbid, be dead somewhere, or locked up somewhere. No. I had to ask for help. I knew it. I saw it. I asked. And I've been getting the help for the last 10 years. And you know what? I'm not in a rush to end it. Because this is helping me. And helping myself. And them helping me. Maybe I'm able to help somebody else that might be out there that's still suffering. Let them know you do not have to do this by yourself. That there's help. Nice, Mr. Funk. Nice. And it's always good to have that oomph that you need to make you see, okay, maybe I do need to go to the left instead of keep swinging to the right. It's always good, and that's good. See, I didn't have that. I did not have that. I had to actually do this the hard way. I had to actually do this the hard way, and I had to do it on my own. And I'm not bitter about it or anything, because at the end of the day, I am where I am, and I'm glad I am where I am. Because eventually, something was going to make me go for help. And unfortunately, it was a cocaine-induced fuel mental breakdown that made me have to go for help. That's awesome, Dr. Funk. I mean, Mr. Funk. I said Dr. Funk. My bad. That's awesome, Mr. Funk. Yep, your journey is your journey. You know? You know, and like I said, of course, mine's had to be a cocaine induced fuel mental breakdown. You know, sniffing on cocaine, and just one day I just literally mentally broke down. I just started crying and crying and crying and just could not stop. And from that point on was when my journey began to being a better person, to get the tools that I need whenever I go through some bad times. I got the tools. And trust me, this is not a cakewalk. I know it may sound like it. This is not a cakewalk, and it's not a walk in the park. This is something, it's going to be rocky. Because you're going to have, I have my good days as long as my bad days, you know. And one thing they don't tell you in therapy, but that's something that we should know, is that life is always going to throw a curveball at you. The question is how you going to handle it. Thank you, Mr. Funk. I am so glad that you came through. That's awesome. But you know what? You keep on your journey, keep your head up, you know, and keep positive, man. You know? So you know, like, you take care too as well, Mr. Funk. You know, so the thing, you know, with that is that you're always going to have a curveball. Life is always going to throw you a curveball. The thing is, do you have the tools to deal with that curveball? You know, you have to have that the tools for them curveball, because you know what? Life is a journey. Excuse me, I gotta charge it up real quick. Where's my charger for that? You know, life is a curveball. You know, and we gotta learn how to. You know, we have to have the tools to deal with it. You know, we're not Superman. We're not Superwoman. We can't handle everything alone. You know, it's always good to have somebody to talk to. I mean, but you know, and it's good. It's even better to have somebody to talk to that's been through it. You know, that actually knows what you're going through because they've been there. You know. You know, and it's just, we need to know that there's therapy out there for you. Just reach out and grab it. Life is a journey, and nobody said that life is going to be easy. You know, life is never easy. If it was easy, we all be damn robots. You know, it's not easy. Life in itself is a journey. The thing is, what journey are you going to take? You know, I was on a bad journey for a while. But then I hit my rock bottom and I had to make a lot of adjustments and flip my bad into a good. Now I'm trying to help other people, to understand that you don't have to do this alone. Your journey does not have to be alone. Your walk does not have to walk. You do not have to walk alone. There is people out there that's willing to walk with you. Now, the word I said walk with you, not for you, but with you, which means you have to do the work. And so long as you're doing the work, you'll always have somebody there to guide you and to walk with you. You know, um, I know I haven't done this in a minute. I really, I'm also, like I said, I've also created a website on GoDaddy. I'm going to start putting up stuff, like I might do my diamond art painting, put some of my diamond art paintings up for like sale. But I've created some mugs, I've created some shirts that I'm going to put up there for mental health, so that um so that we can have this conversation, so that this conversation can continue to happen. Because so long as we keep silent, crazier things are going to continue to happen. And then you have to know the signs. You have to know what to look for. For me, this is a clear indication. If you have somebody that's a complete extrovert, that's a fun-loving person, all out, and just like that, they become an introvert and they start to withdraw and they start to become reclusive. For me, that's a blaring red sign. Something is going on with that person. And if you care for that person, try to get that person some help. I mean, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So, but at least make an attempt. If you see something going on with somebody, are you okay? You want to talk? Let's go for a cup of coffee. Let's go talk. And if it's to something that's out of your pay range, you know what? Let me do you a solid. I'm going to call a friend of mine, or I'm going to call a friend of mine who knows a therapist and see if we can get you in to talk. Don't let that person sit and suffer. Because there are times where people are afraid to say that they're suffering, even though you can see it. But the thing is, you have to show them that you care. If you're truly a friend of theirs, if you truly love them and you see something is wrong, you are going to step up and say, okay, something is going on with you. We need to get this together, and let them know, I'm not doing this because I hate you. I'm not doing this because I just want to be malicious. I'm doing this because I love you and I care about you. And I want to see you live a rich and fulfilling life. So if that means you need to go to therapy, then you go to therapy. Therapy has got to be one of the most awesome tools that a person can deal with in a mental health issue. Really. Really. And it's like, you know, they say, God wouldn't put more on you than you can bear. That's true. But that don't mean